Hello everybody, welcome to another live plan with me. As you can see, I've got a kitten up here with me, although he may be jumping down in a second to go explore the basement. It's time, whoop, bless you baby. It's time for another live plan with me. We will be doing the week of, what is it, the 13th of June through the 20th, question mark? Oh no, shit. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Through the 20th, no, it's not right. Through the 19th, 13th through the 19th of June, 2022. I'm good. In my Makselife undated, obviously, vertical planner. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm going to have to go I forgot to grab my date covers because I'm using I will talk about it in a second. Give me 1 second here. All right, I'm back. I'm good. I'm super unprepared. Okay. So what are we doing today? I'm going to be using leftovers. If you guys watch my blitz of trying to re-stick down all the things. Yeah, he has gotten bigger, you guys. He's already putting on weight. He had his first vet appointment this past week. His first vet appointment with us. He's had plenty of vet appointments because of his eye, but he's doing good. He's thriving with us. Anyway, so this is a kit that I got from Krissyanne Designs years ago. These are the leftovers. This is one of the first kits I think I ever bought from her when it was on the vinyl paper. These stickers are old enough where they've lost some of their vinyl like flexibility and they're a little crispy. So I'm really curious to see how well they stick. Sir, stay out of the garbage. Thank you. Sir? Sir? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Kitten. Anyway, so we're going to see what I can use. I did grab some date covers from my stash, and I've got some washi tapes here to utilize with it. So let's just get going. Crisp. I hate that word, by the way. Crisp. And it's because of the freaking... I know I've talked about this before. I'm going to use this one. The guy from Kindergarten Cop, the bad guy, his last name was Crisp. And so that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger would call him, was Crisp. And for some reason, that has just stuck with me, and it really makes the word bother me. It's amazing what can make your shit, what can annoy the shit out of you, right? It's amazing what this, by the way, if you're wondering why this washi tape was so hard to line up, there is so much poof. It's a good thing this is only a 6-month planner because there's such a big bump from using all the date covers and all the washi tape up here. But I love how it looks. So I'm going to keep doing it. But the bump is so intense that I can hardly line my washi tape up. Oh, you got to meet Jesse Williams? I know who he is. He's awesome. The Letterkenny episode where all they do is talk about words that nobody wants to hear. I'm assuming moist was right at the top of that list. I mean, because moist is probably, I would say, one of the most infamous words when it comes to words that people hate. Moist is one of them, and I keep saying it. One that kills me is... figuratively, of course, is slacks. I hate the word slacks. A friend of mine really hates the word gurney, which never bothered me until she mentioned it, and then I was like, well, fuck. Now I don't like that word either. So this washi I've had for years. I think this is a Michael's washi from years and years ago. I don't remember. It could have been from one of those washi tape group buys. Definitely... I know it's not simply gilded, so... All right, so what we're looking for here is a pale orange. Pale orange. Pale is the word of the hour. green, yellow, pink, pink, green. Maybe this one? This is like an orangey brown. Let's see here. What do we think? Maybe the lightest one? It's not quite right, but we'll see. We'll come back to you. This binder is so janky right now. I think I like fucked it up. Ooh, what about this one? No. Okay. Maybe. I think the first one. I think the first one is the right one. This one. No. Yes. This one. Undulate. You hate slacks too? Blouse. Oh. Just looking at the comments here. Okay, so we'll go with the lightest one, I guess. No, we'll go with... We're gonna go with this color. The second... Yeah, that looks right. This'll work. This'll do. What are you doing, sir? Foyer? I say foyer. I don't say foyer. If I'm gonna say it, I say foyer. I don't generally say it. I usually say entryway. Mostly because I don't feel like my house is grand enough for a foyer. It's got like the front room, or it's got the closet, like the hallway from the garage, and neither of those I think qualify as a foyer. It's like the entryway to the front room, basically. Now, I, though, am by far one of those people who has read more than I talk. I mean, I talk a lot, but like, have you ever run into a situation where you think a word is pronounced a certain way from reading it over the years, and then you actually say it out loud in front of somebody and they're like, that's not how you say that? That has happened to me. It happened to me in front of my mom when I said epitome instead of epitome when I was reading something out loud. Even though I knew the word epitome, I just thought epitome and epitome were two separate words. What's another one? Because Jessie got me with one the other day. Oh, I don't remember what it was. There was something I was saying to Jessie, and I said it wrong. I said it the way I read it instead of the way that it's actually pronounced. And then I saw his face. And like the moment I said it, I saw his face. And I was like, shit, whatever it was I just said was wrong. What would be the right way to say it? So, yeah, there is that. Your cat eats plastic and then yaks it up. Oh, man. Yeah. Lou's done that. Actually, I think Odin's done that, too. Pretty sure. All right. So, let's get some dates on here. Where are my little buddies? Your brother said optional is optional. Orangey. Yeah. Tertiary. Dower. Doer. I've never heard it pronounced doer before. I've only ever thought it was pronounced dower. Like sour. Because I felt like dower and sour are like actually kind of related to each other. You know, like if I'm thinking of somebody having like a dour face, sour would probably be a close synonym to me. I could be wrong though. Jessie is currently in the process of building our new cat trees. We ordered, so Chewy has this pack of 2 cat trees. like a 52-inch one and a 72-inch one. And we had a 72-inch one at the old house, but we couldn't fit it on the moving truck. So we gave it away to a neighbor who needed a cat tree. And we decided to order these two to give the cats some more escape places from, like, well, I'll talk about Lou in a minute. Lou's having some problems with the kitten and with Layla and with all of us. Lou's just dour. Dour is a great word for Lou, although that's not really fair, because I would suggest that Lou's just trying to be left alone and nobody's leaving him alone right now, and it's starting to piss him off. But anyway, we wanted to have some more perches because Lou was able to survive on perches. Like, he was totally fine just using the stairs as a perch. But Layla is way more into the kitten, and so she'll chase him down, and I don't think the stairs are going to be good enough. So we got a couple of cat trees, put one in the dining room in Lou's favorite spot, and then put one in the living room, and then we moved the little cat tree to Jesse's office. And then what we're going to do is build like a cat palace in the bedroom, like this IKEA thing. I'll be sure to vlog it. Library. Oh, and of course, I'm sure for a lot of people who read Harry Potter before the movies came out, we're talking all sorts of interesting things about their good friend Hermione. Unless you were British and then you knew that you'd heard the name Hermione before. But like, I'm sure there are probably people in the US who had heard the name Hermione before Harry Potter came out, but I was not one of them. All right. And then we'll use this week right here for the habits. And then I'm going to put down this one for the Roomba, which this week I didn't do a great job crossing them off, but I did run the Roomba this week. So I think my new method of getting around the problem of the Roomba having to go like run it somewhere in the house that's not the main floor, and then having to go every like 5 minutes or whatever, not that, but like, you know, having to go fairly often to pick it up and take it back downstairs so it can empty itself, is to just take the whole thing. Take the Roomba, take the fucking base, and just move the whole thing to where whatever floor is getting run. It's not that much heavier. So I think that's my new thought process, my new first world problem to solve. So, okay, I see a Emery's question about water intake. So I actually asked on Instagram, and I got a bunch of suggestions, and I haven't gone back to dig through them yet because I haven't had the chance for water tracking app, because that's really what I want. My best way of tracking it right now is that I use the same bottles. I have two different hydro flasks. I have a 40-ounce one, I think. It's either 40 or 36. I can't remember. It's on the bottom. And I have an 18-ounce one. And I just have one of those, and I just keep track of how many of those bottles I drink per day. It's not perfect because I fill them with ice, but it's a start. So I'm going to try and do a water drinking app. Apparently, I think my favorite one, the one where you could like water the tree or whatever, doesn't work anymore. So when I figure out which one I'm going to use, I will be sure to let you guys know. And I would take any suggestions in the comments. And with 3 pets and 4 shedding humans, it's really important that we run the Roomba every day, because it helps make it so that when it's time to vacuum, like vacuum, we don't have to stop every 5 minutes to defur or dehair the vacuum brush. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Billy Ray. Cyrus Black, Billy Ray Cyrus Black. Okay, I'm texting. Speaking of water, could you fill my blue water bottle and bring it to me? Ice, please. And then we'll give him the heart eyes face. Use the tracker on your Fitbit. Water llama? What the hell is water llama? I'll have to go check into that later. Okay. Let me put my habits in. So I did not, this past week, I did not check my blood pressure fucking once. And I had I should have checked it on Saturday. I'll tell you that story in a minute. Yeah, my habits, some of them going okay, some of them not so much. So Saturday, Plant Nanny. I think Plant Nanny was the one I was thinking of. So, Saturday, I just told my patrons this story. I made a bit of a mistake with my meds. So, what did I do? Friday night, I was exhausted and my kidneys were not feeling very good. And I went to bed and did not take my meds. I didn't realize I did not take my meds until the next morning when I woke up to take my meds and I was already feeling crappy and I woke up to take my meds and I go and I look and I have, you know, the little containers from the pill minder. I just put that day's on the counter and it's the divided container with morning and night. And the night meds from the night before were still there. And I was like, well, shit. Forgot to take my meds. So sometimes there's been times where I've forgotten to take my meds and I haven't noticed until getting close to needing to take the next round of meds. And so I was like, okay, those times usually I'm just like, whatever, I will just skip. And it's usually my morning meds. I don't usually forget. When I've forgotten meds, it's been my morning meds, not my evening meds. My morning meds are not as important as my evening meds. They're both important. My morning meds consist of a potassium diuretic, a couple meds I take multiple times a day. I take prescription strength Pepcid. I take a diuretic twice a day. I take potassium giganto pills twice a day. I take blood pressure medicine twice a day, although they're different medicines, but I take one of them in the morning. What I wound up doing, but at night, the reason my meds are really important. Oh, and then what else do I take in the morning? I also take my aspirin regimen, which is mostly to avoid stroke. I have it's not an aneurysm, but it's a narrowing in one of my blood vessels near my brainstem. And it's not bad enough to require intervention. But what it is concerning enough because PKD puts you at risk for stroke. And with my blood pressure needing to stay under control and everything, it's just better to be safe than sorry. So they have me on aspirin and they have me on a low dosage of cholesterol medication because my cholesterol is not high. It's normal, but it's not low enough for them to feel confident. They want the cholesterol medication and the aspirin. I take both of those in the morning. Those are precautionary to help me avoid stroke, basically. So I take those in the morning. I take my Pepcid, my diuretic, my potassium, and then I take my blood pressure med, the one that I take in the morning. And then at night is the bulk. Hey, Steph. At night, the bulk of my meds is it's the same things in a lot of ways. There's potassium, diuretic, Pepcid, blood pressure med, but it's a different one. In the morning, I take 5 milligrams of amlodipine, and at night, I take 100 milligrams of losartan. And then, so if those of you who are familiar with blood pressure medications, I'm sure you know those. They're both very common blood pressure medications. I also take my diuretic, my Pepcid, my potassium. I take a restless leg medication. I take a gout medication. I take vitamin D. I take another form of like prescription strength vitamin D, both of which I take because of my parathyroid hormone being elevated because of the kidney disease. It's a lot of this is to like deal with symptoms of kidney disease. The point is, aside from the blood pressure medication, the biggest reason my nighttime meds are the most important ones to stay on top of, aside from the blood pressure meds, is my antidepressant. I take Celexa at night. So that's the big one I was worried about missing. And since it hadn't even been 12 hours since I would have taken them, I decided to go ahead and take my evening meds anyway. Now that in and of itself wouldn't have been a major problem, except that then I took my shower and I was like, oh, I need to take my morning meds. So I took my morning meds, which meant I hit my system with sorry, Jesse was like, I'll do it. I'm like, it might be upstairs. Sorry. You take both? Yeah. Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. That wasn't the bottle I wanted, but that's okay.
Really?
Sorry, I love you. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. You're like, whatever. I'm such a jerk. Okay.
Odin followed me upstairs.
Do you want to? You can take it if you want to. Just if you do, let me know that you're taking him for sure, so I know not to be worried about him down here. He already made his appearance, so we're good.
Okay. I'm taking
He
him.
earned his keep by being cute.
He'll be on the kitten cam.
You took him? Okay, well, I don't remember how to fix it right now. We'll deal with that another time. Kitten Camp's coming back next week.
Where's the home at?
Looking for a appropriate dot pen for this week. Will this one be a good one? Question mark? Yeah, we'll use this one maybe. Fawn. I feel like fawn actually looks really pretty with like the muted oranges, but maybe we'll come back to that. Anyway, so your cardiologist advised the statins at night. I will ask about that, Dee. Thank you. So my husband works for Naked Wines. Yeah, Emery, I think it wasn't so much that I was like, well, I should take both. I think that was part of it, but I think a big part of it was just I spaced out and was like, okay, I took my nighttime meds now for my morning meds. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of stopping to think, is this a good idea? I just went forward with it like it was a good idea. No, we'll use the regular orange. Let's just go with that. Okay, so I'm going to put in my green stock right here. So the big problem was that most of the meds I took, if I doubled up on them in that quick period of time, really no big deal, right? Really not that big of a deal. But the big ones that got me were taking all of my blood pressure medications, because there was the one I take in the morning, the one I take at night, and then my diuretics, which also function as a blood pressure medication. And I took the dosage of taking 2 of those pills of the diuretics, no big deal, because I used to take a higher dosage of it. But taking both of those plus both blood pressure medications was enough to make me basically need to lie down all day. The other complication came from the fact that one of the things in my nighttime meds is melatonin, which is probably explains why I didn't sleep so well the night before that. But yeah. So I spent most of yesterday it was also like almost 100 degrees yesterday. So I was just hot and exhausted and spacey. And taking both doses of the massive potassium within like 45 minutes, half an hour of each other, made me super nauseated because it just hit my stomach like a freight train. So, yeah, whoops. So you can see, I'll show you on my planner what I did today. This is how I went back to it today. Was meds, oopsie. I didn't even fill my to-do list out. And then with this, even a bad day is 24 hours. So yeah, that was yesterday. I'm looking at the comments here. Yeah, I'll ask about the statin. The biggest reason I was taking it in the morning was I was trying to like figure out, they didn't tell me one way or the other. And I was just trying to figure out how to juggle my meds so that, because I almost puke most of the times I take my nighttime meds, because throwing them all back and then trying to swallow them, they hit my gag reflex pretty hard. But if I try to do one, like I've noticed there's like after about 5 or 6 pills, I start to not be able to handle it anymore. And so that was the biggest reason, but I will definitely check and see what they have to say. The biggest reason that we made sure that I take one blood pressure med in the morning and one at night is because it helps even it out during the day for me. Yeah. Yeah, Lisa, I was scrolling on my phone and I was talking to people in the DMs, but most of yesterday I just spent in bed. I watched 4 movies. What did I watch? I mean, I didn't watch. I kind of spaced out and like dozed through most of them. But what did I put on? I put on Terminator 2, Judgment Day, the best Terminator movie. Awesome fucking movie. That movie, if you have HBO Max, it's on HBO Max right now. So I watched T2. Most of these I watched with the kitten. I was in bed with the kitten most of yesterday. Let me show you. I'll check a... Look at that baby sleeping on my fistula. And then this picture too. That was me yesterday. That was also the kitten yesterday. These are all pictures I sent Jesse. What did I watch? I watched Terminator 2. I'm also grabbing my weather so that I can start putting that in. Terminator 2. I love that movie too. I saw that movie in the theater. Oh, so great. The first Terminator, I believe, was the first rated R movie I was ever allowed to watch. Why I was allowed to watch that as my first rated R movie, I don't know. But that's what I watched. But yeah, T2, saw that in the theater. Hell yes, I did. With Edward Furlong with his little squeaky voice. Oh, so cute. Little Eddie Furlong. Go on to make such classic films as Pet Sematary 2. And then what else did I watch? I think I watched The Hangover. I don't think I actually watched The Hangover. I think I turned and I don't even know why I put it on. Sometimes I pick movies specifically because I think they'll put me to sleep, and I think that might have been why I picked The Hangover. There's something about that movie that makes me cringe so hard, and I cannot help it. I think it's because I really dislike Bradley Cooper's character. I think he just reminds me of a bunch of frat boys that I went to college with, and it just gives me the screaming memes, and I just don't care for it. So yeah, but I put The Hangover on. I don't think I actually paid attention to it. I just sort of slept through it. What else did I watch? I think I watched Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, because that movie's the most amazing movie. Did I watch Weekend at Bernie's? I don't remember. Anyway. I think T2 was 92. Yeah, Emery, Sunny actually has a 4-slot pill minder, but they use it for 2 weeks. They do morning and night meds, and they use it for 2 weeks when they visit Dad. I used to have a 3-slot one when I was taking the middle of the day meds, but currently I'm just doing nighttime and morning meds, and I don't. My current pill box is each little disc for each day is about yay big, so there's enough room. My sister has a 4-slot a day pill box, and she just takes meds in the morning and at night, but she needs all that space for all of her meds because she's a transplant patient. Okay, got the weather in, blood pressure spot, assuming I do that. Okay, let's get going here. Monday is going to be a busy day tomorrow. I finally am taking my car into the body shop to get it dealt with from my last accident. Then I have to pick up the rental. I have a phone call at 10 that I may or may not make depending on how long it takes to get the rental. RJ has a dentist appointment at 12:30. He's getting a deep cleaning done and getting some sealant put on his teeth. It's also feedback day for a certain tier of my patrons, so I need to make sure to check in on that. So that's going to fill up most of my day tomorrow. I don't have a walk with Layla at all tomorrow. I requested that I didn't have to, like, I asked Jesse if he would handle it. You know what I'm going to do to use up some of these stickers? I'm going to just create a to-do list using these today stickers right across the bottom here. Instead of washi tape, I'm just going to use these stickers because I'm trying to use up some of them. They're sticking okay, by the way. I don't see... This is not the first one from this kit, but like... Yeah. I'm trying to use them up. I also washed a little Magnificent Century, but not too much. These are also not removable, so I need to remember that when I start putting them down to not get too jiggy with it. To sound like a super white mom. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead is goddamn amazing. I am right on top of that, Rose. I love that movie so much. And I remember seeing that movie when I was a teenager and I was the oldest and thinking to myself, would I be able to get an executive administrative assistant job if I had to support my sisters? But I didn't expect my mom would ever head off. At the same time, both my parents were still alive at that point. But also, I never expected my mom to just take off to Australia like that, even if she could afford to. So let's say here, okay, if you've never seen this movie, spoiler alert, but it's from like the early 90s. So like fucking, if you're being spoiled for this, then get right with your life and go watch it. What the fuck? Okay, so here is a question I've always had, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. What in the hell? What in the hell? How did that mom leave her kids for a whole summer and go to fucking Australia and leave them with some old lady babysitter that she had just met? Like, I would have almost bought her leaving the kids with the 17-year-old who had a driver's license, who had graduated, before leaving them with some old lady stranger for 3 months while she went off to Australia to hang out with her boyfriend on his sheep farm or whatever the fuck it was. Why? How? How did CPS not get called on her? Now, I'm aware it was different times, that like helicopter parenting is so much more of a thing now. I'm aware that, you know, back in my day, my sisters and I would wake up on summer vacation days and go or get our bikes and go biking off to McDonald's across like a while away so that we could go get McDonald's breakfast, and my parents were still asleep and had no idea we were doing that. Like, I get it. It was the 90s and the 80s. Like, I get it. Kids just went wherever they wanted. But like, seriously, she went to fucking Australia. Are you sure yeah, exactly. Are you sure you could handle 5 kids? She asks the lady as she's getting ready to go to her flight. Like, are you serious? And where was her luggage? She just brought a fucking briefcase with her. Like, that's like my first question. My first question about that movie right at the beginning is, what the fuck? How did her mom just take off to Australia like that? My second question of that movie, how did she get hired and they didn't like check her social security card and make her... Now, I know this was the 90s, but I know because I got a job in the 90s that I had to fill out fucking tax paperwork. I was a high schooler who got a job in the 90s. I worked at my grandma's daycare. My grandma was the fucking boss of the daycare. But it was my first job that I got a paycheck from. Like, my first job where I got an official paycheck versus like babysitting and getting paid that way. And I had to fill out fucking paperwork and like show my social security card and like do the things you're supposed to do when you get a job. How the fuck does a 17-year-old get hired as an executive and not have to fill out any paperwork? Like, oh, check about your pension and your health benefits. Don't you have to give them like your age to be able to get your medical benefits? Yeah. Like, I was one of 3 kids, right? So like, I was one of 3 kids, and I me see here. Sorry, I'm brain farting. I'm going to use this guy. I was one of 3 kids, and my parents, when we needed to be somewhere for like the weekend or whatever, we would go stay with a grandparent. We would stay with a grandparent. We would stay with, oh, fuck. Yeah, see, these are not reusable stickers. Okay. Let's make this work. We would stay with one of my grandparents, or my uncle would come and stay with us. It was and I mean, I'm aware my parents had like family, which is good. I don't think they would have survived if they didn't have family nearby to like handle us. But if they weren't around, we would go and stay with one of my aunts or something. And they even mention like that they have an aunt. Like, doesn't that make sense? But I guess, like, doesn't it make sense to have a family member or like go stay with your aunt rather than how much would it cost to hire a live-in babysitter to be the sole adult in your household? Like, I'm thinking about this as an adult. Let's just say 2 months. Let's not even say 3 months. Our summer vacation, the kids' summer vacation is a little over 2 months. Let's just say it was 2 months, right? 2 months. How much would it cost to hire a live-in babysitter for 5 kids for 2 months? I do know the jerk, Debbie. My dad was a big Steve Martin fan. Okay, so tomorrow morning I have to go bring my car to the auto body place and then go to the car rental place to pick up my rental. So that's all right there. I can read it even if you can't. I love Steve Martin. Like, I've gotten into the conversation before about Steve Martin versus Chevy Chase and how I love Steve Martin with every ounce of love that I could possibly have. I'm going to put in this little just strip here, both to cover up where the page ripped, but also just to make the note that it's my patron feedback day for a certain tier, and I just need to make sure to check that. Like I said, then I have a phone call at 10 that I may or may not make it to, depending on how the morning goes with the car. Yeah, John Candy's also fucking rad. Expensive as a former nanny. Yeah, if she could afford. Also, okay, here's another thing. How in the fuck? I don't care if it was the 90s. How the fuck did she afford it as a single mom whose ex-husband didn't care about them based on dialogue from the movie? And B, where in LA doth one have a farmhouse with that much fucking undeveloped property? Like, that fucking property in LA, even in the 90s, that property in LA with the pool and the massive yard. Like, how did she afford that? How did she afford that house? I just don't get it. It was your first R-rated movie? The one on TV? I don't even think that was R-rated because that was a fucking made-for-TV movie. Not that I'm not trying to, like, poo-poo you or anything. I'm just saying that movie, scary as that movie was, I don't think it was rated R. And then I'm going to have to pack up my work bag because, like, a bag with some stuff, because I'm going to be at the dentist for a good, what do we think? A good couple hours probably for RJ's appointment, and I can't not be there. I have to stay because he's under the age of 18. Our old dentist let me leave, but that was because at that point we had been seeing them for like 13 years. So they said I think the boyfriend paid for the trip. Yeah, how did Danny Tanner afford his house in San Francisco? I did read a thread asking how the fuck did Kevin McAllister's family afford that house in, I was on Reddit or something, and I saw that they were asking how did Kevin's family afford that ginormous house in Illinois in Home Alone. And somebody had read the novelization, and apparently the dad was like some VP of the Chicago Stock Exchange or something, and the mom was a fashion designer, according to the novelization. So, like, and their brother-in-law was the brother was the one who paid for everybody to fly to Paris. So that's how they afforded that giant house. All right, so RJ. And the poor guy has to get his wisdom teeth taken out in August once he gets back from vacation. It'll be right after school starts. So he's like, well, at least there's that. Yeah. All right. So there's Monday already filled up. Like, I'm not going to have time. This is why I'm not doing any Layla walks on Monday, because unless I go with Jesse in the evening, because there just ain't no time. I'm just going to be fucking busy. Yeah, exactly, Katie. Hella money in the northern suburbs. I heard that the Goonies house, they finally started covering it up with like sheets or something to keep people from taking pictures of it in Astoria. I don't blame them. I mean, I want to take pictures of it because it's the fucking Goonies house, but yeah, I don't blame them. All right, so Tuesday I've got a video going up. I hope you guys, I know some of you mentioned it already. I hope you guys got a chance. My videos this past week were fun, both because I brought up my excitement of coming up with the idea of my planner mullet. And then also, I'm pretty sure Odin, did he show up in both of them? I think he might have shown up in both of them. He showed up in at least one of them. All right. So what else do I have on Tuesday? So I have the video going up on Tuesday. I am taking Layla for a walk Tuesday morning. I've got a Patreon Live that afternoon, which is why I am not walking her in the afternoon. But where Home Alone House is one of the richest suburbs of Chicago. And aren't there a lot of rich suburbs of Chicago? Like, I feel... Okay, here's another question. How fucking rich were the people in Adventures in Babysitting? Like, the family, they go, he has his party at the fancy building in Chicago, and I saw it when I went to the Chicago Planner Conference. I didn't go outside because it was so fucking cold out. This is before I found out I was moving to Denver, of course. But I was like, hell no, I'm not going outside. But the next time I go to Chicago, I'm going when it's warmer so I can go to the Adventures in Babysitting building. But, like, they wore fancy clothes, and that was like a massive fucking house in the suburbs. Cameron's house from Ferris Bueller is a museum. You can actually go. That's so cool. The house from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is now a restaurant. Do they serve chili at it? If you've seen the sequels, you know what I'm talking about. It's so I did not grow up in like the Midwest suburbs. But the Midwest suburbs, to me, kind of encapsulated a lot of the movies that I saw growing up. Now, I know a lot of shit is, like, filmed or based in LA, but, like, I had never been in a house big like that before. Like, even the bigger houses that I had been around, like, growing up in Northern California, the bigger houses I had been around, because I didn't grow up in the Bay Area. I grew up, if you know the way the Bay Area is, like, the way the Bay Area is kind of built, there's the hills, the Altamont Pass, which is it's like hills. I'm going to put this down here and leave some space in case I need to fill more stuff in on Tuesday, because this is all I'm putting on. If you've heard of like the Altamont Music Festival, the one in the 60s that the Stones played at, and the Hells Angels were hired as the security, and there was like a riot. That is near where I grew up. I grew up in Tracy, which is Basically, if you get the farthest east in the Bay Area, it's like the very edge of the East Bay, you go over the Altamont, and that's Tracy in the Central Valley. That's where I grew up. The biggest houses and I didn't have a lot of fancy friends. Like, I didn't have a lot of friends with money. Most of my friends lived in the friends I had, which was not very many because I'm fucking awkward. But the friends I did have lived in my neighborhood or my area, which was a lot of California ranch style, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, small homes, similar in size to the house I lived in Napa. The people I knew, like mostly the ones I knew through cheerleading, whose parents had more money and lived in bigger houses, they lived in like the new of the 90s subdivisions. Like they lived in those like stucco bigger houses. So this idea of like big, fancy New England looking houses and like suburb looking houses that you saw, like it was so foreign to me. Jesse's mom lives in one of those types of houses on Long Island. And when I first saw it, you can ask him, I fucking freaked out. I was like, oh my God, this is like a house in the TV shows. Like, I did not handle it. It's also like watching TV shows where people went to high school inside a building. Like California high schools, the majority of the ones, or at least the schools because of earthquake things, they're like little small satellite buildings and you walk outside to go to your classes. Seeing high schools like West Beverly in fucking 90210 or whatever, where they were all inside, like what the fuck? The first time I ever was in a high school like that was at my kid's high school here in Denver. It's the first time I had ever been in a high school like that. Kim, I didn't know you lived in Aurora, Illinois. Isn't that Wayne's World? Isn't that where Wayne Campbell lives? That makes me so happy. You have no idea how happy. Yeah, John Hughes suburbs. I don't understand John Hughes suburbs. That's just not what yeah. High schools where shit's outside. That's my high school. Like, I would walk out of my English class out into outside and then walk to a different building that had my math class. And I didn't go into the building to get to the math class. I walked directly into the door into my math classroom. Yeah, Joyce's crappy job and crappy house was actually in Stranger Things is very much more similar to how I grew up. Okay. Wednesday we have the cleaners. It's payday. I've got my pottery class, which went really well. It was a lot of fun, so I'm excited to keep going. And I'm walking Layla in the morning because both the cleaners are going to be there and my class takes 3 hours. No, John Hughes is Chicago, and like Chicago suburbs, I'm pretty sure. Baltimore is John Waters. Yeah. No, if you want to imagine what like my high school was like imagine this is the massive campus, right? Like I'm just making this up. This is not exactly. So there's one building where like a whole bunch of classes would have been in. This is the original high school. It's only administration because of earthquake laws, kids are not allowed to go to school in there. It can only be a grown-up building. But then you'd have like, here was the theater, and then on the theater were all of these classrooms for like, and you would enter here and then exit here, like from the outside to go to art class. And then there would be a row of classrooms, and here your doors are. And you're walking outside on this sidewalk, and that's where Spanish classes are. And then here's another row of classes, and you're walking outside, and here's where English class is. And then there's like the cafeteria, and then there's like the office, and then there's like portables that have more classrooms in them, and then there's like the math building. And there was like a big space in the middle for teachers to have offices, but all the classrooms were on the edge of it. You wouldn't go into a building and then into a classroom. You would only enter the classroom from the outside, if that makes sense. Linda, that's probably a big part of it. I know that the reason that high schools in California, a lot of them are like that, is very specifically because of earthquakes. Like, you don't have to worry. You have rain and shit in California. Well, you used to at least. But you'd have to worry about snow, right? So you could walk from class to class outside. And it was a lot like not having like second stories meant that you could have a campus be earthquake ready with a lot less like expensiveness. They did shoot Buffy at the same high school. It's Torrance High School in Southern California. I've been there. I went there on a tour for one of my Buffy the Vampire Slayer posting board parties. That's also where they filmed. Was it Not Another Teen Movie? No. She's All That, I think, was filmed at that high school too. Wasn't the high school in Greece too like that? Yeah, actually, I think it was. The high school in Greece too was a lot like that. All right, so cleaners. Okay, so how many months deep are we into the cleaners now? A couple? I'm going to tell you right now, I do not regret. I'm still a little frazzled by it, but it is very helpful. It's one less thing that I have to worry about, and especially with how crummy I've been feeling lately, it's just been so nice to not have to worry about it. So as long as we can make it work in our budget, I'm a fan. Yeah, and then there was also, like, if you looked at my high school, there was, like, the big gym, and then there were two smaller gyms, and you would walk in the two smaller gyms. Each of them had one of the locker rooms attached to them, but you still had to walk outside to get from gym to gym. At the kids' high school in Napa, there was, like, the music building, and, like, they would have the classrooms there. Like, there were lots of small buildings that were devoted to different subjects, but generally you would walk into your classroom from outside. You felt a small earthquake in May? Yeah, I would be a lot more scared to get an earthquake here than in California. Because in California, you expect them, but here, not so much. At least as far as I know. I don't know. Nobody told me that. I'm more scared of a fucking tornado or something happening here because I know that they can. The wind has been real intense the last couple nights. Lou has been very unhappy because of it. And I'm like, Lou, I am right there with you. Can I hide under the bed too, please? Thank you. And then my pottery class is going to take up a good chunk of the rest of the afternoon. I feel like I should use one of these full boxes to just fill it up because it's basically 3 hours and I'm going to be wiped out afterwards and I don't want to schedule anything else that day. Is it going to fit? No. Shit. Whatever. We'll use this one. And every time I talk about, to like my kids or my husband about going to the pottery class, my first like response to myself in my head is, "Hey there, Mr. Pottery Class," from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which I love that movie, and I'm pretty sure that movie is on HBO Go right now, so I might go, or HBO Max, so I might go watch that. Pottery class. Basements can be good for those, yeah. Okay. Thursday. Payday. I forgot to put that in here too. Whoops. Do we have a money sticker? A cash money sticker? Cash money. Yeah, we do. We have a little this guy. Just a reminder for me to move money over. Okay. Thursday, got another video going up. Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of strikes me as ironic about moving here, it's not really ironic, like we did not seek Denver out. We were given we were told to move to Denver for work, right? So like Denver was not somewhere that was on my radar of potential places to move. But one of my like major irrational, at least living in California, irrational fears was when I think Jess is going into the office on Thursday and taking Layla after I walk her. So I think that's what we're going to do, is do an early walk at like 9, and then he's going to take her into the office for like a partial day. He took her in this last week and it went well, but nobody else was there because he went in on a Friday, which is the day that like worked best for him. But nobody else was there because it was fucking Friday. So they all were working from home, and he was like, well, shit. But it did give her an opportunity to like get to know the office and be there without people there. So I think that might have been helpful. So I'm just going to use this washi tape for the rest of the day to put in that Jess is going to be in the office. And I think the other big thing I just need to do Thursday night is... Thursday is a meal plan because I am woefully behind. Feeling crappy. Takes it out of me, man. We'll use this guy. Now, the worst earthquake I've ever been through. I've been through 2 major earthquakes. Major meaning like did like major damage to the places. One, this is way too big. I cannot use this sticker for this. At least I got it off the page without making it tear. Woo, come me. Okay, the first earthquake I went through, the first big one that I went through was the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989. The big one that happened during the World Series between the Giants and the A's. Now, I lived in Tracy, so not in the Bay Area, just over the Altamont from the Bay Area. So quite a ways away from the epicenter. And it was bad enough that we lost our TV, that like I was on my friend's porch. I remember it. The whole world was like moving. It was fucking terrifying. And that was like nowhere near as close to where things were bad. I had a friend who was with her dad going into the city that day, and they had just gotten off of the Old Bay Bridge when the earthquake happened and it collapsed. So that's good. But yeah, so there's that one. And then the 2014 earthquake in Napa, the one that we lost power for several days and the downtown got fucked up. Yeah. All right, what do I have on Thursday besides this? That's it. So cool. I do need to meal plan and shit, but I'm just gonna leave it blank for right now because I don't know what's gonna happen. And if Layla doesn't wind up going to the office with Jesse that day, that whole day is gonna shift. Okay, Friday. I have nothing on my schedule on Friday currently except to walk Layla and go grocery shopping. So I'm gonna put that in here. Do we have like a shopping cart? Shopping cart? I'm trying to use up some of these stickers, so yeah. Oh, you put a bid in, Debbie? Yay, that's awesome. Fingers crossed for you, man. So I'm just gonna put Trader Joe's. I don't know if I'm gonna need to go to Costco. I usually have to hit Target, Costco, or King Soopers after shopping at TJ's just because there are certain things they just don't carry. So, but Trader Joe's is where most of our staples come from just because we have been shopping there for years. We were Trader Joe's working family, and then like you just get used to like stuff you can get there. So it just has become like our standard operating procedure. Your kids were watching the ball games? Yeah. One of the things I remember reading about like years later, I think it was at the Academy of Sciences. I don't know if it's still there because this was a while back. They had a earthquake exhibit there, and you could go into this like fake building, and then you would be able to go through both an earthquake the size of the Loma Prieta earthquake and then an earthquake the size of the 1906 earthquake, which was much higher magnitude. Fucking terrifying. But the point is that I remember from that exhibit, there was a lot of like it interrupted the World Series, right? Because Candlestick Park was near the epicenter. But the thing that people were thankful for was that because the earthquake happened during, like, right after the start, or right as the World Series was about to start, and it was the Battle of the Bay, so it was two Bay Area teams playing each other. There wasn't very many people out on the roads. There could have been a lot more damage, fatalities, and everything like that if more people had been out driving, but most people were at home or at the park watching the game, because it was like, even if you weren't really into baseball, you were watching the game because both teams were Bay Area teams. Costco versus Sam's. I've never been to Sam's, so I don't know. I'm curious about Sam's, but not curious enough to go. I love Costco. I don't always go because I spend too much money there. But when I do go, I spend too much money there. Okay, Saturday. I don't have much on my list for Saturday except for going to the farmer's market. We skipped it this weekend because of the aforementioned medication boo-boo. So I think trying to go on Saturday morning would be a lot of fun. I think... yeah, let's just do that. Maybe I'll put this here. And I'll just leave the rest of it for now until I figure out what else we're going to do. Layla has been having a great time at the farmer's market. Lots of butts to sniff. She's been twice now. She's been very polite. She has not gotten agitated being around that many people that she doesn't know. There's so many dogs there, so she gets excited to sniff them, but she doesn't like start getting all super excited and like getting over the top like she can do in our neighborhood because there's so many people around. So it's been going really well with her at the farmer's market. We are looking into doggy daycare for her for once or twice a week. And the reason we're looking into it is there's multiple reasons. One, if Jessie goes into the office without her, it's not just that I'm trying to get work done, but I'm the one who tends to be in charge of things like taking RJ to the dentist and other shit. And so, like, when she's left with me, there is a high chance she might need to get crated because I have to leave the house to do a bunch of stuff. And so having the doggy daycare available would be good for that. But also she loves being around other dogs. Like, she loves it. And so getting her out of the house once or twice a week so she can have like playtime all day and then tire her out. She's a smart dog. When she's not tired out, when she's got energy to burn, you don't want that. You don't want a dog with energy to burn. It's not a good thing. So, yeah. Am I doing HB90 Q3? Yes. I am thinking about doing all of my work, like day-to-day planning, digitally for this next quarter. I'm thinking about getting the Makselife digital planner and using, because I already have the PDF of HB90, so importing that into GoodNotes as well, and just doing it that way for a quarter. That's kind of where I'm leaning, although I have no idea if that's something I'll be able to follow through with. Okay, so Sunday, Sunday. I actually don't have a lot going on anything. It's Father's Day, I know, but like, so get the kids to call dad and see what Jesse wants to do for lunch. What I really want to do sometime this week, maybe on Friday, maybe on Saturday or Sunday, is take RJ and do like a short trip with him. Like I maybe take him to the cat cafe. I don't know. Something like that. That's what I'd like to do this week. I just don't know when, because I don't know when he's going to be able to. So I need to talk to him about that. Maybe I'll do that on Friday with him. Now, this live plan with me coming up next weekend on Father's Day might be my last live plan with me for the next couple of months. This is something I'm thinking about. I haven't decided yet. For sure, it's not going to happen on the 26th because I'll be taking that weekend off for Denver Pride because we're going to like the 5K and everything. We're going to be very slowly strolling the 5K. However, I am thinking of taking a couple months off in the summer off of live, still publishing a video on Sundays, but considering taking the summer off of live streaming. So stay tuned for that. That announcement will come soon, but one way or the other, how it's going to go. But yeah, the other thing on Sunday evening, allegedly, we may go see a show, potentially. Jesse said that one of his friends, so Jess went to Berklee College of Music, and he said that one of his friends is going to be coming through town and going to like a very small venue and playing there, and he would like to go. And so that's what he wants to do on Father's Day, that I will go with him. But I don't know for sure yet. So I'm just going to put this blank thing in because I don't have any information on that except that we might be going because he hasn't figured it out yet. And that's on him. So it's there. Do I do yoga? I've done some yoga. I'm not great at it. Both because focusing on anything is hard for me, and also trying to get into certain positions is really not great for my kidneys. No, I know that dogs are fine. Like Layla loves her crate. It's just I would love for her to be able to get some dog socialization because she loves it. I was talking to Kristen from Krissyanne Designs about it because she has been using doggy daycare for a while, and I wanted to get her thoughts, especially since she has used like a franchise that we are thinking about using. So I just need to get this yard waste situation figured. Anyway. Ooh, you're allowed to get a pet under 20 pounds, Debbie? You can get a cat, you can get a dog. Jackie, that's awesome. Go to the shelter. Likely you will have a large selection. The shelters here in Denver are fucking overflowing right now. So, because of people giving up their pandemic dogs, and then summer times tend to be when the puppies and the kittens start coming in anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get going. This is what my week is looking like so far. The stickers stuck just fine, which I appreciate. I guess we will see. I will be streaming this next weekend. Like I said, I'm still thinking about whether or not I'm going to be taking off time or not. But in the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Hasta la vista, babies. Don't forget to like this on the way out.